Ladies and gentlemen, what is good? Your boys are back, and based off of feedback from the last episode, we now live. We got this video action going, but it is another soon-to-be classic episode of the Crisp Logic Podcast. It's your boy Jordan Frost Mitchell, and I got my boy with me.
Yeah, we back at it. You know, you get to look at these beautiful faces for the first time. You know, we're going to be on YouTube soon. Like I said, I told y'all guys it was coming. You know, as per usual, a little kicking ass I had to give the Frost to get on cam. So, per usual, you know, we here on the Chris Logic. Hey, you make that face all you want. They can see it. And hey, it wasn't on there until I started getting on video. So, you can go with it how you want to, baby.
That's fair. That's fair. Nah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I was like, look at this guy out here parading in front, trying to be a star of the offense. I see you.
Hey, man. Somebody got to be the Odell of the show.
Right. Nah, I ain't mad at it. Nah, bro, you was cooking. Your clips was cooking last week, man. So nah, that was encouraging, man. Like I told you the day after we was going through production, I was like, man, let me get off these scary hours, man, and get this camera up and rolling, bro.
For sure.
But ladies and gentlemen, another episode in the building, and we are actually right on schedule with some recent developments here, man. This is a tale of tale of two NBA teams in two uniquely different situations with two uniquely different situations that just happened in the past week. We are referring to
not even
current state of affairs.
2 days.
Literally 2 days, man. 48 hours, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think the stars just align, you know what I'm saying, for, you know, you to be available, me to be off from work, and us for to jump on these joints within 24 hours, man. Very rare occurrence.
Yeah. You need to make that happen more often.
Oh, definitely got to do that more often, man. But we are here to talk about the state of affairs for the second seed in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics, and the obviously devastating news to their superstar player, Jason Tatum. And then also this interesting turn of events for the team currently vacationing in Cancun, the Dallas Mavericks, in their unbelievable twist of fate by winning the NBA draft lottery and landing the number one pick, presumed to potentially be Cooper Flag. I don't know why, man. I was talking with one of the cats at the job, man, and he kept referring to him as Cooper Cup, and it was annoying to mess out of me, but I'm pretty sure you know who it was.
Probably.
Yes, sir. So,
okay.
But yeah, we are. Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. You know, only that person in the building that can talk ball, you know. So he kept saying, "Cup." I'm like,
I give him a pass. I'll give him a pass.
No doubt.
Only because he's not somewhat. He knows ball. Like he better know ball. He played college ball. So
exactly. So there it is. Now I think we know on the same page without, you know, casting him out to the public here.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, he wouldn't care anyway, man. You know, he does what he does. You know.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to the homie. But we are here to first talk about this recent development with the Mavericks, because you talk about a situation where Mavs general manager and the ownership of the Mavericks, Brad Nico Harrison, I don't know why I was going to say Collins. I feel like I'm like kind of tap dancing over proper names here, but I'm glad I landed it. I was thinking like Collins, that ain't it. Hold on, slow down. But Nico Harrison,
down. I just dissed you.
But I'm not a rapper. But I mean, bro, what are the odds? This team completes
1.7.
the most. What'd you say?
1.7.
1.7, exactly. So 1.7 on the odds that the Dallas Mavericks, after this crazy trade that they did where they unloaded their superstar generational talent, Luka Doncic, sent him to the Lakers for the All-NBA talent, Anthony Davis, and a few other players, to mess around, get bounced in the play-in tournament, mess around with the lowest odds of 1.7 per Zay Green to land the number one pick and basically get potentially another generational talent in Cooper Flag, bro. What are your thoughts on this highly unlikely, skeptical, and let some of these people tell a potentially fixed outcome of the combine, or excuse me, the draft lottery results?
It's not fixed. It's not fixed. Hey, what do we learn from Marvel? If it's one thing we learned, a soul for a soul.
The soul for the soul.
A soul
Yes.
for a soul. Like it's from the naked eye to the casual, it's gonna scream fixed. But this isn't the first time something like this has happened. It's a known thing that once you start getting around that 10 to 11 spot, if your lottery ball doesn't drop at that 10 spot, you automatically get jumped up to having the best odds. That's how Chicago got D Rose.
Mm-hmm.
That's how, if I'm not mistaken, Weber was with drafted by
Orlando.
My boys,
Orlando.
They traded, but
yeah,
it's not the first time that it's happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could go that route, or you can even go the other route that the team with the second overall pick is not the second worst team in the damn NBA. Their players were just hurt. Wemby got hurt down the stretch. They were a playoff team in playoff contention before he got hurt. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they had just got De'Aaron Fox. They're not the worst team by far, a bottom 2 team in the NBA. Mm-hmm. But this is also, can you say it's rigged? Because this is also, one, how they got him, Wemby. Well, they're just bad when they got Wemby. But this is how they got Tim Duncan with David Robinson. David Robinson, former MVP. I think he was a year or two removed from the MVP. Mm-hmm. And he gets hurt and misses the entire season. Mm-hmm. Without the MVP, they had a terrible season. They get the first overall pick. Now you paired the former MVP with an all-world big that can play off of him.
That's right.
Keeps it down as it goes. So it's not the first time we've seen stuff like this happen, people. So don't get them panties out of a bunch. It's not the end of the world. And let's not act like, okay, that Cooper Kupp, I'm gonna watch up because Cooper is nice. He's not walking in the NBA and winning a chip. He's not walking in the NBA day one and being the missing piece to a championship team. It's going to take more than just him for Dallas to really contend next year. He's going to have a lot of growing pains as a rookie, but he is a great piece to build off of. Kai is younger. I mean, he's not a spring chicken. He's older. AD, not a spring chicken. Somewhat brittle bones, but when he's on the court, when it comes to bigs, I don't know if there's a better big than him, personally. So you have that, and he actually could play the 4 in Dallas because they have Lively. It allows them to have, if you think about it, 6'10", 6'11", 7'1" from 3 to 5, and then they still got a 6'7" Clay defender or 6'6" Max Christie, who came along later in, that was part of the LA trade as well.
Very underrated.
Who also is a great, I ain't gonna say a great defender. He's a good defender, good trade ball. He's a piece. They have a few pieces. I don't think it's enough to compete next year. But if they all stay healthy, maybe the year after, once they add one more piece, or if they get somebody in free agency. And who knows? They could trade the pick, because I understand that AD doesn't want to play the center. He doesn't want to do that. But if you could package Cooper Kupp, that first overall pick, and Christie, a couple other players that's on the roster, you may have to give up Lively too. Why not go pair him with Giannis? Send him to Milwaukee. I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to look for some building the future outright, like long out, because they traded their cornerstone, and Kai and AD aren't cornerstone pieces anymore because of their age. But you can play with it because you can be in win now mode. So it depends on what they want to do. What's your thoughts on it?
I mean, that would be crazy. Just before I go into my reply to that, that would be a wild stunt if they were to package that number 1 pick and try to go after like Giannis. I mean, I will say that will probably be one of the most attractive like packages that could be generated, in the event that Giannis is open to, like, I mean, I know he's on the record now with officially saying he's open to exploring trade options and moving on from Milwaukee. But if you were to somehow land that pick for Giannis and you get a chance in Milwaukee, you can figure out what you're going to do with Dame, clear the book, start over. But you have an exit strategy at that point, and you have an immediate one to, be able to move on real quick. In my personal opinion, I'm going to first speak about Cooper Flagg and how I feel about his game. Had a pretty solid college career. I mean, averaged over 19 a game, showed signs of being able to contribute on both ends of the floor, both offensively and defensively. Underrated rebounder. I think he was averaging about around 7.5 on the boards this year. Solid 3-point shooter. He's a very good product coming in. I don't know if I'm ready to give him the generational talent flag that some people are trying to float out there. But, could I see him potentially being in the ilk of I would say his ceiling could be like a Paolo Banchero. I could see him having a ceiling of that caliber at the highest.
Wait,
and then
I'm gonna pause you on that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to cut you off, but ceiling as in Paolo now, or what Paolo's ceiling is?
I'd say where Paolo's at now, that would be the peak. Okay. I still got Paolo's got.
No, Paolo's only scratching the surface.
Oh yeah, I mean he still he's figuring it out. I mean you can see the evolution in his game from year to year to year. I mean even right now the guy looks like a top 5 player right now. You know what I mean? He's got that kind of talent, and like you said, he's just gonna start to figure out once he gets the offensive game to peak consistency. Orlando's going to be a problem. I still think they're a piece or two away from being a legit contender, but as far as him being able to power them out of the first round and be in contentions for an Eastern Conference championship or potentially NBA title, I think he's got that kind of capability and absolute ceiling. I think his potential is off the charts. Very underrated as far as how they tried to downplay the impact of what that draft class was, and I think that's because there was a toss-up initially between him, Chet Holmgren, and Jabari Smith Jr., which I will admit for the record that when Orlando was in that position to make that pick, I was very much in favor of them going with Jabari, but that was based on how the team was constructed. I didn't truly believe that Paolo could be a superstar talent, but obviously I'm not arguing. I'm more than impressed with the results so far from P5. But back to Cooper Flagg. It depends on the situation that he lands in, and what the culture is of the team that he goes to. So ultimately, Dallas seems like they kind of know what they're doing as far as you got a good coach in place. You got some solid pieces already there. Your front court set, your back court is solidified. They really do just need that wing guy that they can continue to build around and continue to tool around. So, I think he'd be a good fit for Dallas if they were to proceed with drafting him. And clearly that sets them up for the future. That's going to quiet the barbarians at the gate calling for, the heads of the ownership and Nico Harrison currently as we speak. It's going to calm them down. And but again, you just never know, man, what can happen with these things. I mean, going back to your point, this is the first time we've seen this crazy of a development. Some people may or may not know. You go back to the Orlando Magic in the early '90s. They clearly in 1992 you get a once in a lifetime player in Shaquille O'Neal with the number 1 pick in that draft. And then you turn around that very next season, barely missed the playoffs, and you're kind of what is known now today is being in play-in tournament territory. Where you got a shot, but you're kind of around that 9th or 10th seed that you should be heading to Cancun, but you got a chance still. They were right there just outside of the playoff window. Lowest odds, same kind of like how it was for Dallas yesterday. They messed around, landed the number 1 pick. Was able to flip Chris Webber into a trade for Anthony Hardaway plus 3 future first rounders. Now, that'll be another conversation for another day as to how that worked out for Orlando and those picks. We'll discuss that. A traumatizing part of my childhood is how that 90s Orlando team fell apart, but we'll save that for another episode. But I'm ecstatic for the Mavericks fan base, man. If anything, I'm really happy for the fans because I know they didn't want Luka to go. They didn't want that trade to happen. They've been through enough this season, as far as suffering from the departure of Luka, the uncertainty of where the franchise direction is going, and this is after a finals run. You get AD. AD, is showing out the very first game, but gets hurt, while dealing with that abdominal strain. They've been through enough. They've been through enough. But I'm excited for their fan base, man, and this gives them a chance to kind of flush this season and accelerate that clock of letting go of, what Luka was. So, but again, a lot of things could possibly happen still between now and the trade, not the trade deadline, but the draft. There's still a lot of things that can happen here. So, interesting situation, though.
Very true. But before we segue to another, so if you recall, I said Nico wasn't super crazy with the trade. And I understood.
Yeah, you and I were on the same page with that for sure.
He's not going to do this one, but if I was Nico, if I was a GM, for the sake of public, it don't matter, unless you get like a C Web type of a thing to where you're getting 3 picks on top of it, the trade down. But I'm with you with not being able to. I don't call Cooper a generational talent.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be a great player, but I think he's much closer to his ceiling already.
Yeah.
That's where my hot take is I'm taking fucking Ace Bailey with the first overall pick.
Ace Bailey. Get out of Rutgers, right?
St. John's.
My bad, St. John's, okay.
So the thing is, they like, people will say that and be like, oh, you're crazy. Well, not really. Yeah, Cooper Kupp, he averaged 19. Ace Bailey averaged 18.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Kupp averaged 7.4 rebounds. Ace Bailey averaged 7.2. Now, Cooper averaged more assists with 4 to Ace's 1.3. But Ace shot 46% from the field. Cooper shot 48%. They both averaged about a block and a half and 1.5 steals a game. But Ace is a way better athlete. He's still an athlete playing ball. He has not reached his peak. His ceiling is much higher. But he has a greater bust factor. So I would contemplate drafting Ace when I have AD and Kyrie.
Could be a better fit.
I think it could be a better fit. Now, that's not saying that Cooper is a bad player. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think he should be the first overall pick if I was Dallas. I think I like him better as a prospect personally. But if he doesn't go there, he's just going to go, in my opinion, he should be going to San Antonio and running the court with Wemby. Because he's 6'10" and can run. So you go for the 7'4" dude with a 6'10" dude that can run with probably the fastest point guard in basketball and De'Aaron Fox on the court. Y'all gonna let them run? That's what y'all want? Bet. That's what y'all want? Bet. But I would go with either one of them two because I think the wings is where you win championships. It's not the point guard. As much as I love point guards and I love SGA, I think SGA will break the mold this year if they get past Denver because Denver got them in the back alley right now, and they fighting for their life.
Hey man,
they fighting for their fucking life, boy.
Hey. This is one of those situations where, you've been kind of cruising on the easy street. You've been kind of dealing with people. You've been out athleting and out youthing a lot of teams. But now you're going up against some teams that, championship experience, hungry, skilled at multiple positions, and everybody knows who they are. And apparently, now that the alleged toxicity is out the building with Mike Malone and Calvin Booth both being gone, now Denver doesn't necessarily look like they were crazy for making that shake.
I don't think that was it either. Like I'm still standing on that. Like they can hush all that noise out. Like they can say what they want. They was 2 when he got fired. They finished at 4. So, people be like, well, they get to the finals. It don't matter where we was at because we got to the Western Cup. We got to the final. Okay. But y'all did take a step back during the regular season. You did. And that just is what it is. So I don't agree with the toxicity thing. I think their head coach now is a pushover. I don't really
That's
see
why
him
they say
coaching.
alleged.
I don't really see him coaching. He carries a clipboard. He gets the paycheck. I think Jokic coaches the team. He calls the shots. Jokic don't rest nearly as much as he used to, and I think that's his call.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, and also he ain't passing the ball as much. I don't know if it's just this serious thing. He like, hey,
I think it's serious.
I'm scoring this rock.
I mean, at the end of the day,
forcing it.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's barbecue chicken alert on that front line. I know everybody all of a sudden wanted to fall in love with Hartenstein and all that, but you know,
I don't know what it is, but it's a talented team. But yeah, I digress. And segue into that, we made reference to it earlier in the show. The devastating news of Jason Tatum. Devastating because it's a superstar in the game. Whether you like his game or not, he's a superstar in today's game, people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just something that you're going to have to deal with or chew on a tough steak about. Like he's a damn superstar. He's a damn superstar. And it just sucks that this injury happened on the game in the series where he finally got it clicking on all cylinders. And I mean all cylinders. He's a 40 plus. He got a 40 ball. And I didn't say it on the pod because we didn't talk about it. But talking about it with people, I was like, hey, he has a 40 ball in this series. It's going to happen. And he ended up doing it. Ended with 42, about 8 rebounds, 4 assists. I think he had 3 steals, 2 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
He was cooking with fish grease, clicking on all cylinders. And he takes that step to go after another rebound.
Yeah.
And that sniper in the ceiling popped that Achilles. And you know what it is. At this point, we're familiar with it. The moment it happened with Dame, I knew what it was. The moment, usually when you just fall like that, especially the basketball players now,
and you're powerless to get up, you're no doubt.
It's that Achilles and it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to him. Speedy recovery. I wish and pray that one day I have the money and the resources that they have because he just popped it yesterday with the Achilles and he's already out of surgery. So that medical plan is a motherfucker. And
sports medicine, brother.
So speedy recovery to Tatum. But what do you feel this means moving forward for Boston? Like, where do you think this lands in Boston?
There's a lot to unpack with this. And prayers for Jason Tatum, man. All NBA talent, superstar, Olympic champion, NBA champion, man. I hope that this does not negatively impact his career moving forward. I'm gonna put the prayers into the power of sports medicine to do what it does, and hopefully he's gonna come back as a productive player, man, and doesn't lose. It doesn't impact his athleticism and everything that he's capable of doing. Having said that, though, as far as what this does for Boston, I think this accelerates what was going to be inevitable. Obviously, they did get their championship last year out of how this team is currently constructed with their 2 stars in Brown and Tatum, the veteran leadership and championship pedigree of Drew Holiday coming in, and also the veteran leaderships of Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis and Derek White. But unfortunately, we're in a new age where you just simply cannot keep squeezing large contracts under the salary cap or going over to try to do that. The new collective bargaining agreement now has the first and second apron, and those tax implications are going to be a doozy. And the fact that you have the Boston ownership group also, after a very long tenure, seeing the writing on the wall and also opting to put the team up for sale. I forget the exact amounts that they're going to wind up landing out of this, but obviously a multi-billion-dollar franchise that they're going to be selling with a rich history of success and championships and great marketability. This could possibly be the start of a massive makeover of this roster. Here's why. I know that there's a reason why they put this team up for sale, and usually it's economics based. They've maximized what they can make off of that team into where now you're entering a unique territory where you're going to start doling out some major dollars. You've already signed one major anvil with Jaylen Brown's contract. extension, $300 million plus man. Tatum obviously is next for that. And you had a lot of guys, Derek White got cashed out. And from there, I think it simply stops, man. More than likely, I don't see Al Horford playing past this season. His age is starting to show at this point.
What is he,
surprisingly,
42?
he's held up for quite a long time, a lot longer than what I thought he would, considering that all of his teammates from that Florida team has been effectively out of the league for an extended period of time.
What is he? He's 38. 38.
Yeah. I was up there, man. I mean, I know for a fact he's staring 40 right down the barrel, but an effective player. But there's a reason why they went out and got Kristaps Porzingis. Because they clearly knew that the time was ticking for Al Horford. And I just don't realistically see him coming back after this season. I think this is effectively his last one. From there, don't know exactly what that's going to look like for Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. Again, they're both carrying large contracts that I don't know if you're going to be able to continue to keep them on payroll, and pay this bloated second apron tax penalty that's going to be looming with this big of a roster. I just think that for them, their immediate championship window has now been altered. I'm not going to say it's totally closed because you still have a Eastern Conference that is still fairly light. It's very top heavy. Because they're in a unique state where you pretty much got 4 teams that are going to be in contention. I mean, right now Boston's still in place. New York doesn't look like they're going to slow down anytime soon. I'm not writing off the Cavaliers just yet. I think they still have room to grow, even though they're fighting for their life, as you said, right now too, and it ain't looking too good at this point. The Pacers are still a major question mark because I think they're one of those teams that are benefiting now from a depleted field in the East, and there's teams that are on the rise that are going to continue to get better, like the Orlandos, the Detroit Pistons, another team that's going to be an impact in the future. Other than that, a lot of teams that were contention recently are just simply not in the picture. Clearly, it's over for the Philadelphia 76ers. I think it's a wrap. One way or another, it's a wrap. Like, that team is not going to come back as it's currently constructed. We'll get on that another day. Let's see who else you got. You got might as well write off the rest of the Southeast Conference outside of Orlando. I mean, Miami's a transition. Charlotte's still a train wreck and a dumpster fire. The Wizards are absolutely irrelevant when it comes to playing competitive ball. And, Atlanta is basically one Trae Young deal away from also being in a rebuild status, too. So,
It's very true.
Outside of that, you got the rest of the teams in the Central. I mean, Milwaukee, depending on what happens with Giannis, we don't know. We don't know if they're going to unload or blow it up. But, if Giannis goes, that basically signals they're in a rebuild status. Chicago's still quite a few pieces away from making any significant noise. Toronto, don't know enough. I have not followed them at all this season. They've basically been a non-factor. And then outside of that, man, I mean, it's just, I don't know if I'm missing anybody in particular, but yeah, the East is just in a situation where it's going to be open. So that's why I'm not going to totally say their window is closed, even with the shakeup that is inevitable. But it definitely alters that future for the Boston Celtics at this point. We got to see what Tatum looks like when he comes back. And again, I know that roster's not coming back fully intact, so they are going to have to retool, make some changes, see what they can do in the draft, and as far as like bringing in new pieces. But this definitely alters. It's more closed than it is open. Let's just say that.
Got you. Yeah, like I agree. They're going to have to. It's altered. But I think it's damn near closed.
Damn near.
The reason it's damn near closed is what Tatum are you going to get when he comes back, and when is he coming back? That's like, I know we got surgery today, but like that rehab earliest is 9 months. So earliest, that means that he's coming in after All-Star break. So yeah, like, is he going to be the superstar Tatum off rip? Probably not, coming off an Achilles. So you have to work his way back in. Then you said, you mentioned the money. It's going to help with Horford coming off. I expect him to be done. I think that Jrue will be the odd man out. I think with the Celtics brass, Peyton Pritchard has took that spot of being the first off the bench, or even being that starter. So I think he's taking that spot because next year Derek White is going to be asked to step up, in which he's proven that he can uptick on his offense output. I don't know if y'all watched the game last night in game 4. I know they lost, but he started off with a full clip, extended, like pause, but yeah, like I think he had 4 threes in the first quarter. I know he ended the first half with 14 points. I think he ended around 20, but I think the only reason he ended with 20 is because Tatum started cooking. Tatum wasn't cooking to start the game. He just, towards the end of that first half, I think right before the end of the half, he had 10 or 12 consecutive points off of, like, consecutive possessions. I think it was 3 threes, a layup, and an and one, like, consecutively. He got it cooking, and it didn't stop until that Achilles pop. But I think Porzingis is there for one more year, potentially, because Horford's coming off, and I think Holiday is going to come off, and then they're going to have to draft well. That's going to be the thing. They're going to have to draft well or have some people come in with friendly contracts, and you can do that with some people. Some people want a ring, so you can do that, or you can get creative and look at the G League and see some players out there that can potentially help. I think Amani Bates can help somebody off the bench.
Still holding out hope.
So, 6'9" dudes that can score don't come along pretty often. So, yeah, I still hold him in a high regard. Like, so he's not going to ever be the superstar we thought he was going to be coming out of high school with the him and Chet battles. Those days is gone. But a 6'8" dude that can put it on the floor and can also shoot the lights out, they gonna have a spot in the NBA. He's young. He was hard headed. It's almost like you gotta earn your stripes because he did some dumb stuff. You know, he had a gun charge up at Eastern Michigan. Like, yeah. So, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is, and we're here. But
yeah, no doubt.
I think that's where we're at with it, and they're gonna have to get creative. The luxury tax, everybody's gonna have to get creative. Like, even my Lakers is gonna have to get creative with Bron and with that Bron and Luka contract and everybody else. So, granted, the Bus family got the pockets, and they may not care too much about paying that much in the luxury tax. Some people
make it back.
Some people don't care. Some organizations, they can make it back and don't care. That's the reason that in baseball, the Yankees do what they do. They don't care.
Yeah.
Damn a budget. Don't. What's that supposed to mean?
You ain't gonna hear about you are not gonna hear about the Steinbrenners selling the Yankees no time soon. One, there's no salary cap. Two, there's no cap penalties. You know,
them or anybody that's an owner of the Dodgers.
Right.
That has to be a requirement. You willing to spend money if you go be the majority owner. They're the Yankees of the West as far as spending wise.
Oh,
so they actually outspend the Yankees now,
which is crazy to me. I thought I would never see the day that the Yankees are getting outflexed when it comes to spending.
Yeah, so you know we in a new day, man. We in a new day, new times. But
we are. That we are.
You know, that's where we are. Again, speedy recovery to Tatum. Nothing but best wishes to young Deuce. You know, and them. But yeah, like I think it's shut, man. I think it's shut, and
it's such a harsh.
Yeah, I'm gonna close it to shut. As currently constructed, it's shut. It's shut. The more and more I've just been thinking about it, it's shut. It's shut. Coming back from the Achilles,
that's tough.
We've only seen 2 people come back and like be themselves, and that's Dominique and KD.
Yeah,
and be themselves. Like,
but has who else? KD really been KD though?
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Because okay, they're not winning, but he's scoring. He's scoring. Still efficiently, and even though,
sorry to put you on a hot seat, but you know where I'm going with this.
No, it's not a hot seat. I'm comfortable in it because even when it was the series that everybody got hurt in Brooklyn, and he basically was about to win that damn series by himself, but his big ass size 18-foot stepped on that line, and it was a 2 instead of a 3.
Man, here you
like,
I'd say Bayless. There you go.
Hey, he was cooking. He was still KD. He still averaged 25. Like his game didn't change. That's the gist I'm getting at it because even when Dominique came back, he was still the highlight reel for a couple years. He still was putting people on posters on a night in, night out basis.
Hey, so I equivalently, excuse me, I draw the equivalent of Dominique's comeback and still punching on people to the ridiculous timeline of how Adrian Peterson tore his ACL, was back in 6 months, and it was like back to regularly scheduled programming, didn't miss a beat.
No, it wasn't regularly scheduled programming. He got better. I'm convinced he's on steroids.
Nah,
I'm convinced.
Nah, bro, you gotta have the meathead.
Listen, I don't care. I don't care what type of meathead, workout warrior you are. You don't completely tear your knee, and you tore your knee running a 4.4 and come back running a 4.35. That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. And not only do you do it, you come back in 4 months.
Hey,
when it's a year recovery time.
Hey.
You're not telling me that he's not genetically enhanced. Human.
Wait, what they say Friday Night Lights, man? You ain't gotta live, man. This God given.
Not because somebody else would have had the same type of recovery at this point. The way people be popping ACLs, like ACLs, Achilles, somebody would have had some type of like similar like recovery. Somebody, at least one.
Yeah.
At least one.
Hey, man. Hey.
Come back and better. Like he didn't win the MVP to after the knee.
Mm-hmm.
He won it off the knee. Like coming off the knee. He won MVP. Like 2000. And at the 2 Stat Club.
Yeah.
Off the knee injury.
Man. Hey, man.
Started day 1. 3 to 4 months later. Like he tore that week 16 or 17?
That was something. Or was it late in the playoffs? Season. Nah, I don't think it was in the playoffs. So I know it was late. I know it was very late in that season.
I'm like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, bro. He was like 4 to 6 months off a year recovery time and came back better. He's not human, bro.
Hey, he's man. Not human. If he's not human, then LeBron James ain't human, man.
We all know this. We know this. Like,
I'm just
body
saying.
wise, health wise, he's not human. He's 40. What, 40?
Bottom line, he's on the wrong side of 40 doing things that we ain't seen before, man. I mean, period. Like,
hey, he been playing so long that they calling longevity a bad thing. That don't even make sense.
It's always something new to hate on LeBron, man. I can't with these people, man.
He played so long. He should have the record. He's still averaging 25, people.
As a pass first player, which is even more insane.
Yeah. And that's sometimes you make me sound like I'm a Bron guy. I'm not a Bron guy. But sometimes you just gotta wake up and smell the damn roses. Like,
hey, just like I wasn't a Kobe guy, God rest his soul, man. But at the end of the day, I respected the hell of the late Kobe Bean Bryant, man.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, if you want to say that he's not the best, that's your opinion, and you're entitled to it. I just don't want. I just need y'all to stop being fucking delusional, saying that he's trash. Like that narrative has to stop. Like y'all can't say that. And hey, I know you ain't gonna never see this Kevin Garnett ever, but y'all old heads have to stop talking about the players in today's game couldn't have played 20 years ago because of the physicality. Because we was too physical, we was dogs. They would play and adapt to the play calling. Because the thing is, you guys are saying that you guys were just skilled but handcuffed, and if you guys played in this free flowing NBA, that you guys would flourish. But so that means that you guys would be able to evolve and contort your game to fit the times of today. But the players today couldn't conform and fit their skills to play back then, you're crazy. Like you trying to tell me you walk who I want to pick up? Elo out, and I walk out with fucking I ain't gonna give you a top Jalen Green. You gonna take Elo over Jalen? Shut up.
Elo might have been a little bit of a reach. I mean, let's bring it up to the Let's bring it up to the 90s at least.
Stop it.
Give him Kendall Gill at least.
Okay, Kendall Gill or Michael Porter Jr. 6'10" that can do the same thing.
Hey,
what are we talking about?
I'm just saying, man. You know, hey, they wouldn't have been able to deal. These young cats wouldn't be able to deal with a deadlift shrimp. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, real talk. If I was Melo, I'd have punched him in the face.
You talking about when Kenyon and them talking about George Karl?
I would have punched Karl. I would have punched George Karl in the face. Like, don't you ever like? And it's no disrespect to Delif, but you was talking to fucking Melo. You were talking to Melo. Like, that's insane. And to say it with a straight face is crazy. Like, do you not understand who Melo is and who he was and the history he made at Syracuse? Like, he was one of them, not one of those. Like Melo is one of the greatest scorers. Melo is one of the greatest scorers to ever lace him up in NBA history. Facts. He's one of the greatest. And the fact that he was like, I want you to be shrimp, to average 16 points a game. Like, shut up. Like, what are we talking about? Like,
better player.
Like, how do you be a head coach in the NBA and make that type of a statement?
Hey man, anything's possible, bro. The fact that Mark Jackson still doesn't have a job to this day, but we got a bunch of clowns still getting second, third, fourth, and fifth opportunities is all you need to know. That's all you need to know, man.
And I hate to bag on him, but because he black, but I don't. That one person I don't understand who keep getting damn coaching job is Doc.
I was gonna say Doc Grill. I knew he was gonna say Doc.
I don't know how Doc keep getting them, but I ain't mad at him. Keep getting jobs. Keep getting them jobs. I don't know how you getting them. Like you and Marvin Lewis need to write a book together. Because my disdain about Marvin being a Bengals fan, and I was over with him when he went 4-12, and they asked him, "Do you expect him back next year?" His response was, "The real question is, do I want to be back?" Sir, who the fuck do you think you are? You just went 4-12. 4-12.
Didn't matter. The man had diplomatic immunity.
Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about, people? So yeah, we don't got way off topic, but sometimes it goes there. But like, man, KG, you gotta stop that. And because you're someone, I think you could play in today's time, and I think you can play at any time. Because it's almost like you're saying that anybody now can never go back further in the day and play. That's like saying that you couldn't go back. Like, you wouldn't want a ring by yourself playing against Bill Russell. And I know you're going to be respectful to, well, Bill was a legend. Bill was 6'9", you were 6'11", and could handle the rock. Sir, KG, do not sell yourself short. Talk about you couldn't, like, stop it. Robin would have been like at his community college, average 50 back in those times. Yeah, if y'all didn't know that, Robin averaged 50 in college,
which is crazy. And then like literally,
it could barely score 9 points a game in the NBA, but they averaged 17 rebounds.
Another guy that's not human, bro. Like Dennis Rodman. Look at how long that dude held up for. And this dude could party, smoke, drink, do whatever, take time out to go do wrestling shows, fly to Vegas and come back and still come out and get 25 boards the next night, bro.
Like, he was a rare breed too. But hey,
aliens, bro.
What? Nah, ain't aliens. It ain't aliens. What the late great Rick James say? Cocaine's
a hell of a drug. And I tell you what, eventually we're going to start talking about entertainment. But, buddy, after watching that movie Flight, And watching how my boy Denzel Washington was knocking away the liquor, smoking, getting him some action and all that. Boy, do 2 lines and be ready to go to fly afterwards? Bro, literally, cocaine's a hell of a drug. And the movie Flight confirmed that, but I'm like, nah, my dude being like on life support, bro. Like knocked out cold 2 lines. He ready to go? And his words are, I'm back now, dog. I'm back.
It's ridiculous, bro. Like, it's ridiculous, bro. Like, dudes used to smoke cigs at halftime. You talking about dudes today couldn't play back then? Like, come on, bro.
But here's my take. There's certain guys. Actually, no, not certain. There's a lot of guys from back then that would have no role, space, or can't do none of that in today's NBA. I'm talking like those guys that were just like.
Because they spaced the floor now. It's a more free game. And everybody couldn't shoot back then. That was a specialty. If you can shoot, you are a specialist. Everybody can shoot now. Like, teams got 7-footers that they get 5 minutes a game, and they can shoot it.
Hey, bro. Hey, we saw guys like the Ben Wallaces of the world that could not score a lick offensively, but can slow down even the almighty Shaquille O'Neal Diesel himself, giving up over 100 pounds in weight and 3 and 4 inches in height. I mean, again, these guys, not only are they taller and shooting threes, bro, but you got some wide bodies out there now that could just flat out, like, do a lot of stuff, get up and down the court, swat shots, bro. Like, like you said, knock down threes, man. They doing stuff that you just simply can't do. Like, you could drop guys like you could drop an Isaiah Stewart for the Detroit Pistons back in the day. He would probably be more effective than like an Anthony Mason, bro. I'm just saying, like, that's the level of like nonsense that we could be on. You know what I mean?
Hey, and to pick and fun and deviate a little bit because you tried to set me up this weekend with the original. With the original outline, and I got time for it, and I still got time. And if we go talk about that in full in depth at a later time, because that outline it just changed. But because we're talking about errors, listen, and I know what he has become because of the mental ability of people getting in his head, talking about he need to shoot the damn ball, but that wouldn't have been asked to him back in the fucking 80s. Ben Simmons would have dominated that NBA back in the fucking 80s because they would have been asking him to shoot. Hey, we all seen what fucking Irving did. Magic Johnson, 6'9", same build, same play style, and wasn't asked to shoot. So I'm not saying he would have been Magic, but he would have worked. And he'd have been a star much longer than he was a star in today's game. Like, he's allergic to shooting the ball. All he wanted to do was drive. He let people get so in his head. He didn't go up on fucking Trae Young and lost the fucking playoff series. If that would have happened 2 years prior, Trae Young would have got his head fucking boomed off. So I don't know the psyche of him, where he went. It's almost like Markelle Fultz forgetting how to shoot after he got drafted.
I'm glad you brought him up, bro.
Like, I just never heard of that. Like, they said he forgot how to shoot. Yeah. Like, outside of it being some type of illness,
and it actually was,
which is fine. And that's the way that I can rationalize with it. But that's crazy.
I mean, you know what, bro? And I know when you and Brother Church, when we had one of our first opening episodes, I'm actually glad that we didn't do the original outline, because we still gonna address that at some point, because we got to discuss y'all's predictions y'all had for them LA Clippers.
I actually think you misinterpreted what the predictions were. I actually went back and listened to the episode again today, and that's fine. And that's why I got something in the chamber for you too. So go ahead. You might want to go listen to it, because I got some things that I can light you up about.
That's fair.
So, and I'm gonna unload the clip, and that's a pun intended. So
that's fair. That is cool. Because we're gonna have to discuss y'all's beloved Clippers
in the it ain't my beloved Clippers. My beloved Clippers. No, I'm a Laker fan.
I know you a Laker fan, but
I
I'm just saying,
said, and
boy.
like I said, on paper, they were a matchup issue for the Lakers.
I'm glad you said paper because that proved
I
them
said,
out
I
to
said
what
an
I.
episode. I said the episode. I said
On
on
paper.
paper.
Yep. And I'm glad you said that now, and reminded the folks of what you did say in that moment, because that's what they wound up being. They just looked good on paper. I can't even call them paper champions.
I still stand on that. Like Harden got a mental issue too. And that might be it might be 2 or 3. But
hey man, I mean, when it comes to again, I'm gonna save the meat and potatoes of that for another episode. But for now, while he's in Cancun, all I'm gonna say is, your boy before
he
the
ain't in Cancun. He in Cherokee D.
Yeah, that too. I forgot about that. Even more crazier that came out going into that series. Even more crazier that they found out that it got verified that he flew out a legendary porn star, by the way. Just shows where his priorities is at. But I'm gonna give Mr. Harden some credit, because if there's one thing that he has proven is this: he should sue Marvel Studios and their creative team. You know why? The reason why he should sue them is because before the multiverse thing started, when we were still caught on the Infinity War thing, he should credit. He should take credit for the snap that Thanos did when people start disappearing, bro. Because that's exactly what happens to him in Game 7s. His talent just snaps and disappears. Or his ability to score the ball just snaps and disappears. Just like 50% of the population in the Infinity Saga. Like, but again, I'm gonna save my Harden bashing for another episode. I'm gonna save it for another episode.
Noted.
But before we close out here, I am going to give you credit, because your hot take about Ben Simmons, I actually 100% agree with you. Because, like you said, you didn't have to shoot as well back then. Back in the 90s, 80s, 70s, if you had the ability to shoot the 3-point shot, you were deemed a 3-point specialist, a la Steve Kerr, Craig Hodges, Dennis Scott. I could go on and on. Hershey Hawkins.
Tim Legler.
Another big prime example. Entire example of Tim Legler. Many guys, 3-point specialists, that was their thing. They were the floor stretchers that you could hit, and they could knock one down. But you had a lot of you had a few athletic guys that were not the best of. They didn't have to shoot, but they were still so effective on the floor. And I'm going to bring up 2 guys that had a Ben Simmons-esque kind of skill set, but may have been shackled due to the time. Chris Webber, a big that could handle the rock, that had very good ball skills and being able to create his own shot and get to the rim and finish with the best of them, and was a very underrated playmaker in his time. So, I mean, it's not far-fetched. Ben could have flourished, and I think that I would probably say I would give Ben just a hair more athleticism in that, great in that department over C-Webb, but C-Webb just had a little bit more heart than what Ben did from the psychological standpoint. And then you got the Rain Man himself, Shawn Kemp, explosive athlete, can finish. Granted, Shawn Kemp did benefit from playing with one of the greatest point guards from all time, but the guy was just he was an unbelievable finisher in the rim and being able to create and finish. So that 6'10", 7, explosive athlete that could get by a lot of people of that same build. The closest guys I could think that fit that mold, back then would be like in the 90s. You go to the New York Knicks, Charles Smith, the small forward they had, 6'10", and he couldn't move half as quick as some of these guys.
Nope.
Of either era or Ben Simmons. So no, Ben definitely could have ate back then and not have to have shot the ball. He could have been a Magic Johnson-esque caliber of player, because Magic also did not shoot the ball. He was very smart and was a masterful distributor and a very underrated defender. But, Magic didn't shoot the ball all like that. You didn't see Magic out there chunking a bunch of threes back then. So, no, I'm in agreement, man. Ben definitely could have ate back in the 90s or 80s, if he was dropped back off. The question is, would he have been able to have the heart to withstand, like, the Bill Lambiers or the Rick Mahorns of the world and the Charles Oakleys? That would have been the question mark. So,
True. But, and before we get out of here, give my apologies. It's brought to my attention that I said Cooper Kupp. It's 100% Frost's fault, because I actually didn't. I didn't link those two until he said it to me earlier. I hadn't messed it up at all. But I knowing the person that said it, it just stuck in my head, and I've actually heard him say it before, and I'm like, you just stuck in your ways, man. Cooper Cup, and I know you're talking about Cooper Flag because we talking about basketball. So he was like, "Hey, man, you see that young kid, Cooper Cup, flag." So my apologies. I'm not sure how many times I said it. I didn't catch myself, but my apologies. But I wanted to get that out there before we ended this. But
before we shut down the studio, I feel it, man.
Before we shut down the studio. But yeah, man, this has been another great episode on the 11th installment of the Crystal Logic podcast. We want to thank all you guys for all your support. We will be on YouTube soon. It's coming soon. Now clips with our faces will be out there to the masses. So please continue to like, follow, subscribe, do whatever. Just show your support. Support's free, people, and help us grow. We love y'all, and my name is Zay, and I'm gonna sign out. Last words from you, Frost.
Couldn't have said it better myself, brother. Again, episode 11 is now officially in the books, man. Be sure to check us out on all the major streaming platforms, the Spotifys, the Apple Podcasts, the Amazons of the world. And we need y'all support, man. Please be sure to like and follow our pages on Instagram, Chris Logic Podcast. You can find us there. Facebook, you can find us there. TikTok, you can find us there. And soon, like Zay said, we will be on YouTube coming very soon. And hopefully we might be able to launch a live stream, man. We need y'all to get those follows up on Facebook, man, so we can bring y'all in on the madness while we, bring y'all into the kitchen while we cooking.
Bring you into the fray. Bring you into it.
But as my co-host said, man, this is Jordan Frost Mitchell. We are going to holler at y'all on the next 12th episode of the Chris Logic Podcast. We love y'all. Continue to support, and we will holler at y'all on the next episode.
Peace.
We out.